Tucked away on Tucker Avenue is the treasure trove of one of our national heroes who would have celebrated the 130th year of his birth today. If Sir Alexander Bustamonte came to mind, then you're on the right path. Hello and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson. In celebration of the life and work of one of our most distinguished sons, we visited the museum created in his honor. So come with us. Let's learn more about Sir Alexander.
Good day, I'm Caroline Brown-Thompson and this is your JIS News for Monday, February 24. Jamaica stands to benefit from over $500 million worth of investments from the privatization of 3 state entities. Speaking at last week's Public-Private Partnership Conference, Finance Minister Dr. Peter Phillips pointed to the benefits of divesting the Kingston Container Terminal KCT, the Norman Manley International Airport, and the Port Community Systems PCS.
All of which have the potential to mobilize significant investment and other inflows to the economy through taxes, concession fees, and capital expansion works. We expect increased efficiency in the operations through the adoption of technology, expertise, experience, and economies of scale.
The privatization of the KCT will further help to position Jamaica as the logistics center for the Caribbean, while the KCT will promote more efficient trading practices. The government is also contemplating a privatization arrangement for the Norman Manley International Airport, similar to that of the Sangster International Airport, which currently operates under a 30-year concession agreement. The Sangster International Airport generated an investment of approximately $183 million. The Agriculture and Fisheries Ministry is embarking on a slew of measures to protect the island's fishing industry. Among the measures being contemplated is the use of drones, which can be specially designed and equipped with sensors to detect and locate poachers. Measures are also being put in place to address the problem of overfishing.
In that regard, the ministry has expended some $40 million in the management of 14 sanctuaries, which has resulted not only in an increase in fish stock, but also in fish sizes.
He added that fish ponds at 2 agri-parks, Hill Run in St. Catherine and Milers Field in Westmoreland, are part of a strategic move to rehabilitate abandoned ponds to increase fish production. Minister Clark was speaking at the recent launch of the 2014 Rainforest Seafood Festival. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller is calling for more churches to return to the business of educating the nation's children.
The church's contribution to education in Jamaica has been both large and legendary. It is arguable that when the church had a more vibrant presence in our schools, the society was better for it.
The Prime Minister was speaking Thursday during the dedication ceremony of the Cedar Grove Academy in St. Catherine. A New Testament Church of God and Ministry of Education partnership, the co-educational institution opened its doors in September to 182 7th grade students and 35 6th form students. The school offers subjects in the humanities as well as science, technology, engineering and mathematics.
The Cedar Grove Academy is going to be different and better because not only academic subjects are being taught here, but side by side will be those technical and vocational competencies which will make the outcome, the students graduating, ready for tertiary education and better able to employ themselves or be employed.
Government is providing support for the family and teammates of 18-year-old St. Jago High athlete Kevon McKenzie, who died suddenly after competing in a cross-country race in Trinidad on the weekend. Minister with responsibility for sport Natalie Nita Headley met the 17-member team and officials when they arrived at the Norman Manley International Airport Sunday. She told JIS News that government would be providing grief counseling and other support.
We've also looked at how best we can carry support for the school family as we extend the services of the psychologists who have volunteered here today to go out to St. Jago High School and the other schools.
In the meantime, discussions are in progress with the Trinidadian authorities to bring home Kevon's body.
The Prime Minister has made it very clear that he died during national duties and that we will be responsible for ensuring that we provide all the necessary support to take the family through this particularly difficult time, but to also ensure the execution of the arrangements going forward.
The team won bronze for the senior male category in the North American and Caribbean Athletics Championships held this year in the Twin Island Republic. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Caroline Brown-Thompson. Thanks for watching.
No, son. A verb is an action word.
Parents need to become more involved in their children's education.
Parents are the first and in many cases the most important teachers.
Read with your children. Review their schoolwork. Visit their school.
Tapping and rapping and slapping, I said.
Nice! High five! Woo!
A good education will never decay.
With us is the museum's director, Norris Chodwick. Mrs. Chodwick, thank you for having us.
We're so happy to have you with us, Adrian.
Can you tell us a little bit about Sir Alexander?
Sir Alexander Bustamonte became the first Prime Minister of Jamaica in August the 6th, 1962, when Jamaica gained independence.
Thank you for that bit of information. We catch highlights of last week's engagements of another history maker, the first female Prime Minister of Jamaica, Portia Simpson Miller.
Prime Minister renews calls for more public-private sector partnerships. Students urged to spend more time on their schoolwork. The late Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez is remembered and something to smile about.
Hi, Lucas.
Lucas the Lion gets a new fan. This is Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Samantha Allen. As the government moves to expand and modernize the country's infrastructure, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller has called for more public-private partnerships to support these efforts. She was speaking last week at a conference entitled Delivering Growth by Partnership, hosted by the Development Bank of Jamaica and the British High Commission.
And I sincerely hope that it will lead not only to renewed British interest in Jamaica as an investment destination, but also to actual projects which will benefit the Jamaican economy and prove profitable for the investor.
She added that several projects were ready for investment, including the Norman Manley International Airport and the Jamaica Railway Corporation.
I want to appeal to the students here to resist the temptation to be on Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp at the expense of schoolwork. Do schoolwork first.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller's challenge to students of the newly dedicated Cedar Grove Academy in Gregory Park, St. Catherine. Mrs. Simpson Miller urged the school's 182 7th graders and the 35 6th form students to postpone gratification for academic success.
Our students need to learn the value of discipline and focus. They need to know how to concentrate beyond a few minutes of instruction. They need to sustain interest in matters which are not entertaining. If this happens, they will be fit for the kind of demanding work the world beckons them.
The Cedar Grove Academy is a co-educational institution which offers humanities and operates under a science, technology, engineering and mathematics STEM culture.
He was a true friend of Jamaica who will always be remembered for the passion and support he gave us.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller lauding the late Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez at the opening of an exhibition in his honor last Friday. Mrs. Simpson Miller paid respects to the late Latin American and Caribbean icon and toured the exhibition entitled Chavez Was Here, a global campaign to commemorate the first anniversary of his death. The exhibition is mounted at the Tom Redcom Library in St. Andrew. It will remain open until February 28. Hugo Chavez died on March 5 last year. And the Prime Minister met with representatives from different sectors last week. She had talks with the Medical Association of Jamaica and the Jamaica Association of Transport Owners and Operators. The Ambassador of Argentina, His Excellency Ariel Fernandez, also paid a courtesy call on the Prime Minister. And following their valiant effort at the Winter Olympics in Sochi, Russia, the Prime Minister, who also has responsibility for sport, congratulated the Jamaica bobsleigh team. In a release, the Prime Minister said their contribution to brand Jamaica was invaluable and their effort had captivated the world. Mrs. Simpson Miller added that although the team placed 29th, Jamaica is still beaming with pride, as qualifying for the Winter Olympics sends a strong message that for Jamaica, nothing is impossible. The Prime Minister has endorsed the Legacy Scholarship, which was recently launched by the Jamaica National Foundation and the University of Birmingham. Over the next 3 years, 3 Jamaicans will be awarded a full scholarship to study a master's degree at the UK-based university. Minister with responsibility for sport, Natalie Nita Headley, delivered a message on behalf of the Prime Minister at the official launch recently.
So let me express gratitude for this forward-thinking, forward-looking gesture. We know that it will provide opportunities to enhance our existing sport capacity and academic capital.
The University of Birmingham hosted Jamaican athletes for training and lodging during the 2012 Olympic Games in London. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister believes that a Chinese garden to be constructed at Hope Gardens in St. Andrew will stand as a symbol of cultural exchange and cooperation between the two countries. She expressed those sentiments at a groundbreaking ceremony last Thursday. The Chinese Garden project, which is funded under a grant aid agreement between the Jamaican and Chinese governments, is expected to be completed within 14 months. And following the groundbreaking ceremony at Hope Gardens, Mrs. Simpson Miller stopped for a quick chat with one zoo resident.
Hi, Lucas.
Prime Minister Simpson Miller is a huge fan of Lucas the lion.
Lucas, look at me.
The big cat, which was a gift from the Monterey Zoo in California, has been at the Hope Zoo in St. Andrews since mid-2013. And that's a wrap on this week's edition of Jamaica House Weekly. Come next week, we'll bring you more updates from the office of the Prime Minister.
Welcome to the FSC Minute. I am Nadine Newsome. Today we continue to explore anti-money laundering and its implications for the FSC regulated sectors. Joining me is Larice Edwards-Brown, Director of Investigations and Enforcement at the FSC. Welcome to the FSC Minute, Larice.
Thank you for having me, Nadine.
Larice, what does the FSC do to ensure that the insurance, securities, and pensions industries comply with anti-money laundering legislations?
The Financial Services Commission issues guidelines to these sectors, the insurance sector, pension sector, and the securities sector. Now, we try to ensure that at a minimum, these entities have controls in place that will prevent them from being used as conduits for money laundering or for terrorist financing. However, the licensees have a responsibility to ensure that they have prudent controls within their place of business to ensure that the guidelines and any government enacted laws are maintained within their organizations.
Does the FSC approve forms, requirements, or policies as it relates to compliance by regulated entities for anti-money laundering?
The FSC does not approve forms or policies used or procedures used by any of our regulated entities in seeking to develop a robust anti-money laundering or countering of financing of terrorism framework. We seek to ensure that they have minimum standards, and we also try to do an assessment of these entities to ensure that there are certain standards that are maintained within these institutions. But the whole process, though, goes beyond policies and procedures. We have to rely on our employees that are within these sectors to ensure that there is a presence of mind when you're dealing with customers who seek to do businesses with your entities.
And how does a Know Your Customer procedure fit into all of this?
The Know Your Customer procedure is very relevant. It helps the employee in the financial institution and also the compliance officer in the institution to understand the employee, know who is it that they're dealing with. So when a transaction seemingly is outside of the profile of that customer, then they can make certain decisions. That includes making a report to the Financial Investigations Division.
Thank you, Larice. My guest today was Larice Edwards-Brown, Director of Investigations and Enforcement at the FSC. For the FSC Minute, I am Nadine Newsom.
One of the great movers and shakers of Jamaica's development. A hero in the eyes of a nation, he worked hard to improve and protect from many injustices within his time. Alexander Bustamonte knew what was required to improve the plight of the common man and tried to make that happen.
What we need in this island is not more men, but more men with courage, with the spirit of fighting for justice for all, and more so for the less fortunate, independent men who will sacrifice their own interests for their unfortunate sisters and brothers.
Young Alexander was among other young men who were forced to seek employment abroad when jobs in Jamaica proved scarce. He had changed his surname from Clark to Bustamonte by the time he returned to Jamaica in 1933. It was after starting a money-lending business in Jamaica that he became fully aware of the harsh reality of poverty faced by most Jamaicans.
Low wages, bad working conditions. People were not regarded as people. They were just factors of production.
Bustamonte chose to preoccupy himself with improving the prevailing conditions. He began with writing numerous letters to the Daily Gleaner and occasionally to British papers as a means of exposing the extremely bad social and economic conditions of the masses.
He made it known that human beings were not supposed to work under conditions where the wages were so low that they were unable to feed themselves and to feed their children.
By the time he was near his 50th year, Bustamonte's advocacy had evolved, with him becoming an active mediator in workers' strikes. Something new was happening in Jamaica, in which he would play a central role. The poor and oppressed had passed the stage where they could be bullied into submission by the guns and bayonets of the then colonial forces. Bustamonte's voice grew loud in support of the workers' struggles and in contempt of the governing authority. His speeches, mediating and organizing activities slowly replaced the people's disorganized resentment to the oppressive forces of the colonial government with organized resistance. The charismatic, influential speaker drew large crowds at union rallies and organized and supported numerous strikes. In May 1938, he founded the Bustamonte Industrial Trade Union, BITU. He had grown into a strong political figure and began working with his cousin Norman Manley and others to form a new political movement, the People's National Party (PNP). At the same time, his clashes with the authorities continued, and on September 8, 1940, Bustamonte was detained at Oak Park Camp for the alleged violation of the Defense of the Realm Act. He was released in 1942 and soon after successfully formed his own political body in the form of the Jamaica Labour Party in 1943. The next year, universal adult suffrage was instituted, allowing all Jamaicans the right to vote. In the December 1944 general election that followed, Bustamonte's JLP won the majority of the 32 seats in the House of Representatives.
Because of the great work he did as a trade unionist, it was not difficult for him to get the people together to vote for him.
At his second victory at the polls in 1949, Bustamonte became the unofficial government leader as Minister for Communication until the position of Chief Minister was created in 1953. In late 1953, Bustamonte was honored by Britain's Queen with the title Knight Bachelor and was addressed Sir Bustamonte. He was named Jamaica's first Prime Minister when the country gained independence from Britain in 1962. And later that year, married longtime associate and union colleague Gladys Longbridge. Sir William Alexander Bustamonte received the Order of National Hero of Jamaica in 1969 for his immense contribution to Jamaica's politics and dedication to improving the conditions of workers. He died at the age of 93 on August 6, 1977.
The Bustamonte Museum is just a stone's throw from Oak Park Camp, where the national hero accused of violating the Defense of the Realm Act was detained for almost 18 months. Today, the camp is being used in a different way, liberating the minds of inner city youth.
The reality of not having any subject give me little opportunities. Hence, I started loading buses for 2 years. It was a risky job as some bus loaders got killed, but I knew it was a matter of survival, and I did not want to turn to the gun or get involved in a gang. However, I decided that attending art was my way out of poverty, as I would be able to secure a better life through education.
Through the Citizen Security and Justice Program CSJP, Horace Bailey was later able to complete his studies, levels 1 through 3 in electrical installation and industrial electrical maintenance at a skills training institution Hart Trust NTA. But the story didn't stop there.
CSJP gave me the opportunity of a lifetime when they decided to send over 400 youngsters on internship with the JDF, where I learned discipline, punctuality, teamwork, good work ethic, and was exposed to leadership training. Thank you, JDF and CSJP. Today, my story has changed. Yes, I can proudly say I am an intern with the Jamaica Public Service Company.
From loaderman to intern at the Jamaica Public Service JPS, just one success story from the CSJP, an initiative of the Ministry of National Security. CSJP is a crime and violence prevention initiative which builds the overall safety and security of communities. The program, which operates in over 50 communities across 8 parishes, is geared towards developing the skills of unattached youth in volatile communities so they can support themselves and their family rather than turning to crime as an occupation. Since 2001, CSJP has provided educational and on-the-job training to over 8,700 inner-city youth. In 2012, CSJP, through a partnership with the Jamaica Defence Force JDF, began offering on-the-job training to over 400 youngsters. After receiving certification from Heart Trust NTA, the youngsters were able to develop their skills in vocational areas like construction, welding, auto mechanics, and electrical engineering. Now, following another partnership, this time between the CSJP and the JPS, 20 of the then JDF interns, including Horace Bailey, will get another chance to further develop their skill set. The 20 interns will be spending 6 months at the JPS.
10 graduates will be placed within our losses teams that carry out customer audits. 6 will be placed within our Kingston and St. Andrew field operations, and 4 graduates will be placed within our transmission and distribution group.
This partnership was cemented following the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between the Ministry of National Security, JPS, and the CSJP. National Security Minister Peter Bunting says the $5 million initiative fits in well with the ministry's Unite for Change campaign, which also seeks to empower young people and keep them out of harm's way.
Even 6 months of that experience so gives them the script for their next opportunity, that it can change, in a sort of paradigm shifting way, their outlook on and their employment prospects.
CSJP Program Manager Simeon Robinson has assured JPS that they are getting the cream of the crop.
Looked at their punctuality, looked at their behavior, their attitude on the job, in tandem with the fact that they have achieved in their technical areas, that you are getting 20 youngsters who are ready for the job market.
Many of the JPS interns have similar stories to that of Horace Bailey, and after gaining a wealth of information from the CSJP JDF internship program, they intend to do well at the Light and Power Company.
Right now, we are on our way to saying we are going up another ladder, another step on the ladder. So we have to just come together as a team, because nothing can be team. What I want to know, you help him up and let him come up there with you.
I'm going to the place to do my best. This thing, looking to meet with other people, get interacting, learn good more work ethics and other stuff.
What I plan to take with me from the JDF, going to the JPS, punctuality, which is going to work on time, the discipline, and good behaviors.
Do my best. I'm not there to compete, because a lot of us they are wonderful electricians, all of us. And we're not there to compete, we're just there to do our best, whatever task is given.
From I'm a little kid, miss. Always I look on company like JPS, Petrojam, them big company, and say, always I wonder if I could get a time to even work over there. And now, getting 6 months at JPS in my field, going to make the best of it.
The Ministry of National Security through the CSJP, changing the lives of inner-city youth one day at a time. Why not join the initiative and support those involved? Join the JPS and other organizations to provide on-the-job training for these well-trained young people and play your part in the Unite for Change campaign. Citizens coming together to empower persons to avoid a life of crime.
Our tour of the Bustamonte Museum has come to an end. What a beautiful day it was, with a beautiful tour guide, Mrs. Nora Strovic. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, Adrian, and you're welcome to come at any time.
We'll be sure to take along with us the viewers on our next tour. So if you missed this program or aspects of it, feel free to visit our website, jis.gov.jm. If you have comments or questions, then drop us a line. Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm. You can also feel free to follow us on Twitter at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson, reminding you to take the lead just as Bustamonte did and unleash the hero in you.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.